you men and yasam to a Goldbod CEO Sammy Gyamfi edge Twitter fine. In fact, was shut down Twitter. You find the Twitter Spaces. I was for Twitter Spaces to say Facebook I call live. Now man for free see my church no Madrid. No, and a Goldbod CEO Sammy Gyamfi say on know what to say. And a Goldbod are making losses be IMF say Goldbod $1.7 billion loss was a debut. And you know in fact, or catch a gun and if as a Goldbod a fee or more than $13 billion. For so many no. And I scale they are going to generate $13 billion. Abesha Ghana economy. Mumpi na mopedi o breaking it down. A Goldbod gains and o cast before Dr. Kesela to force won say so no kwa na munyi ni na say munko ti asema Kesela to force ka parliament. $15 billion asema ko kan if you Goldbod. Now we say countries like Malawi, Tanzania, Zambia, Abani ho some ko establish Goldbod e o mu krom. Na say Goldbod ya de papa and come ma besuya. What Ghana had him said, I'm money Goldbod for why. Abusia, there is our content here. Message also subscribe. We are beyond notification icon button on video. No drop here on Sabeka. Feel free to leave your comment in the comment section. Share link in the now for fro and be actually oh change the little flower green clean solutions that I didn't say the what you want to open clean company pound. I'm a mama prepare who fear na wutu alcohol hospital check bank institution office one and a power you ready. I'm so. Fadae, numbers no good screen CCA. Share your cleaning product at the Jumayeto, bruta. Fredeko Toby, one casabit in a clean washroom or kitchen, and office on Abedi who does. Yet you quite just so. Ufia Kana Obaku Master, just traffic like try up on Serifaso. Abrosetos 1-2, as your pay on Sa Ebekae. After my fan copy backhomeaccess.com. Share Uya Ghana Nina wa Bruchri, Uya project Ghana and say business na wusi, a dina wusi. Abusia for Miss Row. Fadae wati. Usi dana se Unigana Hanum said, Yabaka share. And then the progress the amount. It's the age you be say, you make site one them, you quite done do lens line, be catch pictures, videos, just some of reports. And then a contract this because we see the year be catch but you what just so. It's the age you say, I dare what Ghana Hanum say, can do any share, no make a comment about it in fashions and any amount. It's the say your eyes and your hands in this country. Young quite a professional group, you register. You who to me say this argument. The fashions are the trying you pull and farmer. Obakrampo in the school na probably America Kosrana. You be koni akwa come out report on his or her academic progress. I'm just for you couldn't go to your Goldbod CEO Sammy Gyamfi. And I'm saying Twitter was shut down Twitter.
Because I don't want Goldbod to be profit driven, to be overly profit driven, and reduce the kind of inflows we expect. We will budget 5% for you. The cost is actually not 5% as we speak. I need to clarify. The program cost since March when we took over is 6%. But government says they can only pay 5%. And Goldbod said, thank you. We are paying the 1%. How do we pay the 1%? We use the profit we make from our trade to pay the 1%. Okay. And we've told government that by next year, we are going to reduce it to 3%. And by 20 explain to you how we are going to do that. Now, Alfred, this is all you need to know about Goldbod financing, But before I pause, you have been making a strong point, and I think it is tied to this issue, so let me address it. I've seen you and many argue that, look, why must there even be a cost of 5%? Goldbod must price in their cost and buy a discount so that they don't even need any cost. Okay. Do you know that as we speak today, the Goldbod has been able to discount the price of gold in Ghana by more than 10%? Alfred, do you know that?
Through the exchange rate, right?
Exactly. And that is the biggest headache. Because, Alfred, there are two types of markets: the bank markets and the banking market and the non-bank market. When you talk about FX, those who operate in the non-bank markets don't know anything called interbank rates. There is no landlord in Ghana who charges for rent for their apartment at East Legon or Cantonment, who converts their rent from dollars into cedis using interbank rates. Since we started buying gold in Ghana, in calculating the price of gold in Ghana cedis, no miner knows what is called interbank rate. They don't even see it. They can't even access it. So gold from from the days of our forefathers is bought in Ghana at forex bureau rate. Now, note this because you made this mistake during your last conversation. Forex bureau rate is not black market rate or paro rate. The black market rate is what we call paro rate. It is illegal. Forex bureaus are licensed by the Bank of Ghana and their rates are regulated by the Bank of Ghana. So they operate in the non-bank markets where they sell physical dollars, we call cash dollars. So when a miner is asking for you to pay him a good price at Forex Bureau rate, it is not illegal because Forex Bureaus are legal. Okay. And that is the rate they see. And that is why, since time immemorial, gold prices will usually come out after Forex Bureau prices will come out around 10, 11, 12 p.m. because that is the exchange rate they use for the calculation. But the gold board came and said, look, for 2025, there wasn't much that could be done because we had just come. We didn't even have the structures and the human resources to regulate and police these markets and dominate the market. And if you don't have market dominance and you come and you say, I'm moving the exchange rate from Forex Bureau to Interbank, when you know that sometimes the gap between Forex Bureau and Interbank is 1 cedi or 1 cedi 50 pesos or 2 cedis, you think that the miner will sell the gold to you? No. So we had to go gradual approach, conduct a lot of stakeholder consultations. And eventually, this year, 2026, we have been able to bring the exchange rate determinant of the local price of gold from Forex Bureau rates to interbank, meaning that we have discounted gold by more than 1,000 Ghana cedis per pound as I speak today. That is more than 8-10%, depending on the gap at any given time. And we have been able to do this without compromising volumes. The last time any government tried to introduce a tax or a discount on gold, 2021, 3% withholding tax. 2022, 1.5%. Let me tell you what happened. In 2018, during the ban on small scale mining, Ghana exported 75 tons of ASM gold through the PMMC. In 2019, 53.4 tons. In 2020, 39 tons. Note that during the ban, we exported 75 tons, more than 2019 when there was no ban, and 2020 when there was no ban. In 2021, when a discounting tax of 3% was introduced, we got 3.4 tons. And in 2022, we got 22 tons. Okay. Now, Goldbod has been able to discount gold by over 10%. And yet, last year we got 104 tons. As I speak to you, we've gotten 70 tons and August has not ended. And it is clear that by the end of this year, we would have surpassed the 104 tons we got last year. So it takes tact and a lot of strategic thinking to do these things without disrupting the market flows. Okay. Now put that exchange rate aside. So, like I can say, let's say ufiti prekopepi usia mujaba. Now you've done with the exchange rate. So you want to now introduce a discount. And next year we are bringing a discount of 2%. But we don't think that you should do all at a time. Because when you try that, if you don't take care, smugglers will take over the market. And I'll come to the issue of smugglers. Okay. Now, number two is the issue of the world market price itself. Do you know that until 2021, before the start of the domestic gold purchase program, gold in Ghana, in terms of world market price, the exchange rate had always been Forex Bureau, but in terms of world market price, the determinant had always been the spot price at a discount of minimum 1.5% or 2%. So how come that now Gold Board has to buy gold at spot prices? How come? How did we get here? How did it start? So let me tell you about that. You were absolutely right, Alfred, when you said that domestic gold purchase program was a crisis, solution. Because by 2021, 2022, Ghana had lost access to the capital market. We could not go for Eurobonds again. We had become debt insolvent. Okay. So the currency was under pressure. 2022 was the year that the CD depreciated by 54%. Okay. Now, the government now decides to go into a crisis program to meet this. And the MPP government, through its Minister for Lands, Samuel Abujinapo, was the one that announced that henceforth, anybody who has a license to buy gold can buy the gold. What is my evidence? Ghana Web. Let me give you, and anybody watching can Google. I'll give you two stories. Ghana Web, okay? Saturday, 26 November 2022. Large scale mining firms to sell 20% of refined gold to BOG. And if you read a story, you will see that they quote the minister, say, effective 1st January 2023, all large-scale mining, this was a directive in November 2022 to take effect in January 2023. So the story reads, effective January 2023, all large-scale mining companies, as agreed with the Bank of Ghana, shall sell 20% of all refined gold, blah, blah, blah. Then it says, the Bank of Ghana and the Precious Minerals Marketing Company will coordinate with large-scale mining companies to ensure compliance with this directive. Also, all community mining schemes shall sell their gold outputs to government through PMMC. Also, all licensed small-scale gold miners shall sell their gold to government through the PMMC. The gold to be purchased by the Bank of Ghana and the PMMC will be in cedis at spot price with no discounts. Spot price means when you are going to sell your gold on the international market, there is the international market price of gold. That is the highest price at which you can sell that gold. So for the government to have introduced this policy in January 2023, the government was saying the price that Ghana will get when we are going to sell our gold, we are giving 100% of it to the miner. 100% full price. Meaning that any cost that will be incurred by the Bank of Ghana will be cost or losses on their book. They did it because they were in crisis. And that is why I said on Newsfile in 2025 December, that they didn't design domestic gold purchase program to make profits. Because if they designed, their intention was for domestic gold purchase program to make profit, they would not say they will buy gold at spot price at no discount. So why are they surprised when the Bank of Ghana makes losses of 400 million in 2024? And now IMF say 1.7 because of the scaling up, the expansion of the program. You designed it like that. But the Goldbod mandate, which is being implemented, effective March this year, is not designed to make losses. It is designed to generate foreign exchange for this country while at the same time making profits. That is why this year we bought 70 tons of gold. But we have not sold over 27 tons of it. The gold we have bought is worth $9.4 billion. But the inflow so far is only $5.5 billion. Why? Because unlike the Bank of Ghana, the gold board is trading gold. We are not just buying gold and selling, whether or not we will make losses and bringing in dollars. So let me show you the difference. Gold board is profit driven, objective number one. Number two, gold board has a different pricing model. The Bank of Ghana was buying gold at live gold price. Live. It changes every second. And therefore, Alfred, if you bought gold, say at Asenkrigwa at 10,000 Ghana cedis in the morning, 9 a.m., by 4 p.m., gold may be 12,000. The miner, even though he bought the gold at 10,000, you think he will tell you bought it at 10,000? No. He will choose the highest price of gold that day and sell it to you and say, I bought it at 12,000. And you cannot dispute it. Okay. And number two, the person, because you're using live prices, somebody can buy gold for you at 10,000. Within 3 days, the gold, when you buy the gold in that village or town, the gold will take about 3 days before it gets to Accra. By the time the gold gets to Accra and you are coming to export, the price has dropped. So if you sell it, you make a loss. And this was the system of domestic gold purchase program. Now the gold board says no. Under our model, we are using the LBME pricing windows. Morning price AM at 9:30, PM price for evening at 2:30 PM. So you can only buy gold under two fixed price. And we brought a booking system. Once you buy gold within 5 minutes, you must book it on a digital platform. So I sit in my office, and for every pricing window, fixed price, morning 9:30 to 2 p.m., I know the quantity of gold Goldbod has bought. Before that gold gets to Accra, I can sell that gold. We call it sales in advance of shipment. So I call my off-taker and I say, I have bought 200 kg of gold this morning. I am selling it. Even though I've not exported it, that is how gold is sold. I've fixed the price already with you. I've sold it. So if the price is going to come down, I will not make a loss. Worst case, I break even. Okay. I can also sell it upon shipment. Wait for the gold to come and sell it upon shipment. Or under the gold bond model, we do what we call deferred price fixing. I can export gold to an off-taker and say, I am not selling the gold, but I need dollars for the Ghanaian economy. So take the gold and give me 85% of the value. And we will use the 15% as a hedge. You understand? So the Bank of Ghana was not doing hedging. It didn't have this kind of pricing model because it was not set up to trade gold. Domestic gold purchase program, brilliant initiative. But that government needed a gold board to implement it. You could not use a central bank to implement it with and with the kind of pricing model. You were going to have the challenges that the program has been bedeviled with from 2021 till date, never made profits. Okay. So this is the difference between what the Bank of Ghana was doing, what we are doing. It is not the same. Okay. And the gold board is expected to plow back part of its profit to reduce costs. So when we say we are going to reduce the cost further, even though government is willing to give us 5% for GANRAP for 3 years, and then after 3 years, they dump us to fend for ourselves. We are saying we will not even wait for the 3 years. Next year, we can do with 3. How? After discounting gold by 10% through the movement from Forest Bureau rate to interbank, we think that we have now stabilized the market. We have not compromised the flows. So we think that we can do 3%. We also think that this year we can make some very good profits that we ourselves as Gold Board. Now we are taking 1% of the cost. We believe we can take more. Okay. And then we are coming to introduce something called FFSP, ASM FFSP, ASM Formalization and Financing Support Program. You know that, Alfred, in Ghana, even as the government through the Bank of Ghana's policy, they were buying gold at spot prices. There are Chinese in Ghana who buy gold at 15% discount, at 20% discount. How are they able to get it at 20%, 15%? My friend Vanderpoy of MSC, he buys gold at 15% discount and 10%. How are they able to do that? And government is not able to do that because they are ready to take the risk of going into providing financing. Because the miner, the one who finances him is the one he gives his gold to at a discount. But how do we do this without worsening the environmental concern associated with ASM? And that is why formalization becomes the condition precedent. How do we move the informal ones into the formal sector, address the environmental concerns, while at the same time addressing cost through the purchase of gold at significant discount that can generate more profit for Gold Board and by extension, the state. So that's what we are talking about. One, Gold Board has never made a loss. And our audited financial statements are on our website. And since Oxton frequently visits the website, I think he owes it a duty to his audience. And the same thing goes to Alfred. For you to make that public, for everybody to see that the Gold Board is very financially sound. effective, and efficient. We tripled our revenue from 307 million in 2024 to 970 in 2025. Yeah, somebody will say because we were given a monopoly. That's true, but if we folded our arms and did nothing, the revenue would not have come. And when we got the revenue, if Sammy Gyamfi is as reckless as some people say, and is siphoning money as people like Abena Sari and people are saying, we would have been very reckless in our expenditure. In 2024, Goldbod had just about 110 workers. It had revenue of 307 million. Its expenditure was 127 million cedis. In 2025, when Goldbod tripled revenue to 970 and tripled its workforce from 110 to 450, we rather reduced expenditure to 110. So that should tell you the kind of modesty, the kind of prudence that we are given the privilege by His Excellency the President to serve there, you know, operate within. So we declared an operational surplus of 909 million cedis. Now, operational surplus means the revenue we generated on our own, taxpayers' money is not part. Our license fees, our asset fees, our service fees, and all that. We spent so little, and when we're done, we're left with 909 million. That is operational surplus. And I didn't say it. It's the Auditor General of Ghana who did the audit and published it. And it doesn't matter how many times people scream Goldbod losses, it won't stick. Because like Gobel said, there are people who believe that tell a lie once and it remains a lie, but repeat the lie for 1,000 times and it becomes the truth. It won't stick because the Goldbod will not allow it to stick. We've never made a loss. Nobody can say we have made a loss, including the IMF. And we will not make a loss this year. And those who are wishing doom that Goldbod will make losses, they will be laughing at the wrong side of their mouth. Because what we are doing in good conscience through best efforts for the good of our country. And I believe that when you work like that for your country, God will reward your efforts. And we are doing everything humanly possible to make sure that we are efficient. So we don't have any losses. So the question of whether or not we consider it a public good or not doesn't even arise. If the question is about the 5% cost of the program, baseline implementation cost budgeted by government to spend on it, that is just like any other government expenditure. And so if you are spending that money, okay, this year, for example, if everything goes as planned, Goldbod should be bringing in nothing less than 12, 13 billion United States dollars to help us build reserves, to help us ensure FS market stability, a stable exchange rate and all that. Look at the benefits that the nation is going to get from that in terms of our public debt sustainability, in terms of our ability to meet external debt obligations, in terms of how to keep inflation under control. We've moved inflation from 23.8% to now 4 point something. You understand? Look at all that. You can't even quantify the benefits. You can't. The relief that has provided for households, bringing inflation down this significantly. I have had 11 African countries come to the Goldbod. In some cases, I was called by presidents of African countries that I am sending a delegation to you. I've spoken to your president. We want to adopt the Goldbod model for our country. I'm telling you. I come and maybe I would not want to put it out, but I can tell you. I can tell you. We've had Malawi come, we've had Tanzania come, we've had Zambia come, all of them. And yet we are not appreciating this novelty that the visionary John Dramani Mahama has done. And sometimes our friend says that, oh, but we were already doing domestic gold purchase program. So Goldbod is not new. Okay, if we're already doing the domestic gold purchase program, we started in 2021, peaked in 2022, right, Alfred? 2022, what was inflation rate? Average for the year, 30%. End of year, 54%. What was the impact of domestic good purchase program on that? What was the impact of domestic purchase program on currency stability? When we recorded 30% CD depreciation in 2022.
But we're coming out of the crisis, though, right?
Okay, so 2023. Let's go to 2023. Inflation, 23.2. CD depreciation, 27.8. Let's go to
Trying to.
2024, depreciation 19%. So how come that the positive impact of this domestic good purchase program never kicked in? Because it could not, you see, it was well intended, and I give Bawumia and his team credit for that, but it was not well designed. Because you needed an implementing agency, not a central bank, not a company limited by shares, PMMC. You needed a gold board. You needed to create that monopoly. You needed to give it enforcement powers to regulate the markets, to be the only one licensing the buyers, to fight smuggling. You needed to do that. And that is what they didn't do. But President Mahama is doing, and we are getting better results. So, in terms of the baseline program implementation cost, like I said, is a public good, and government is right in budgeting for it as an expenditure. Okay. Now, and I've explained to you how we are not feeling, we don't want to continue even at that, because according to the IMF, I cannot, vindicate or validate it. They claim that under the BOG, the cost was 14.5 and losses was 17%. That is their claim that I cannot validate. And Goldbod is doing
Our, fi-
5%
our
in a
own
year.
finance minister also said
And
that, Commissioner.
yeah,
Sammy,
5%. Yeah, no problem. 5%. And then we are saying we are moving to 3%, and by 2028, zero. So you can see a clear pathway to eliminating this cost and ensuring that we get to a stage where Goldbod in the next 2 years can stand on its own, fund all its operations, raise its own money for gold purchases. Then the second question was of the economic successes can be attributed to the Goldbod. Well, Sammy Gyamfi, I'm a nobody when it comes to the economy, so don't take my word for it. I think the one that has the final say on the contribution of Goldbod
is Antia Kusuya. We
Hello?
lost Sammy. Yes, Sammy,
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Sammy,
yeah.
Edu
Yeah.
attribution, Sammy line article.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm here, Alfred. Sorry, so I'm saying that I am a nobody when it comes to the national economy. And I believe that the one who has the final say on Goldbod's contribution is the Minister of Finance, Dr. Kislato Fossen. And so I will read to you what he said about the Goldbod in the 2026 media budget review statement, where he was outlining what he calls three KTPs, key transformation policies. He says the economic successes we are enjoying as a country today have come about because of three key transformational policies that he has introduced. Of course, under the direction and leadership of President Mahama. And the first one is fiscal correction, fiscal consolidation, discipline, and all that. And then the second one is modernization of the tax regime. And then on page 19, this is what he says. He says, Mr. Speaker, the third key transformational policy reform was the introduction of complementary fiscal policy to support inflation targeting, ensure exchange rate stability, and build external resilience. Central to this reform was the establishment of the Ghana Gold Board to curb gold smuggling, formalize the gold trade, and ensure that a greater share of Ghana's mineral wealth benefits the Ghanaian people. Through this intervention, Ghana generated an additional $15 billion in foreign exchange inflows from gold, significantly strengthening reserve accumulation and supporting exchange rate stability. And this 15 billion is from last year, 2025 to May 2026. The single policy measure, this single policy measure, Dr. Atoforsen, Finance Minister, is speaking. This single policy measure, the establishment of the Gold Board, improved Ghana's current account balance by 6.4 percentage points from a surplus of 1.9% of GDP in 2024 to 8.3% of GDP in 2025. 1.9% to 8.3%. This represents a 4 times increment of the current account surplus in just 1 year. Mr. Speaker, this was not simply a gold policy. It was a macroeconomic stabilization policy designed to strengthen the cedi, build external reserves, and restore confidence in the Ghanaian economy. To reinforce these gains, Government develop, blah, blah, blah. So this is the verdict of Dr. Casey Forson. The last time President Mahama spoke about the good board, he said, good board Nama CD, Aya Brand here. I'm sure, Alfred, you remember that.
Yeah.
So we are not the ones, singing praises. For us, we've been given a job to do. We consider ourselves privileged that we've been given this important role. And with the support of the president, our minister, we are doing our best. We still have a lot of things to do. There is still more room for improvement, but we know that with the support of some of you and the public, we will surely get there. Now, last but one, Eugene asked about traceability and what it means. And so when we talk about traceability, you see, per the OECD guidelines, for gold to be classified as responsibly sourced, and for that matter, be bought by an LBMA accredited buyer or refinery, that gold must comply with certain rules. And one of those things is that the gold must be traceable, because they want to know that the gold was produced without child labor, without the use of mercury and other harmful chemicals, through responsible mining practices and all that. So they want a mechanism for tracing the gold to its source. And that is where technologies like blockchain and other things come in. Okay. And of course, there are manual traceability systems as well. So until Ghana can trace, because if a large scale mine is selling gold, Newmont, the buyer, if the buyer is an LBMA refinery or an LBMA licensed buyer, the buyer can trace that gold to the Newmont mine, say at Ahafo, and they know that that mine is a large scale mine and they are complying with the OECD guidelines. But what about ASM? How can they trace it? So it means we have to come up with that technology, that software, that system, that infrastructure that can mark that gold. The gold will go through various custody points from tier 1, tier 2 aggregator. It will be transformed from balls or dust or nuggets into dory bars of different sizes, melted, remelted, casted into bars. But there is a technology that you can adopt so that when I have that gold traceable and the gold is traceable, I can say I'm selling it to an LBMA refinery or LBMA buyer, because there I will still sell the gold at a discount. That is what you must know. Gold anywhere in the world, even in the LBMA market, is sold at a discount, unless in markets where from time to time premium is offered, like in India. There are times that if there is shortage of gold supply, they offer premiums. Either than that, generally speaking, whether in the LBMA market or non LBMA market, you must sell your good at a discount. Why? Because the one buying it is also going to trade it for that same international market price. So he can't give you 100%. Either than that, how will he pay his freight, insurance, and other costs that he must incur? You know, so you obviously sell at a discount. But if the good is responsibly sourced and is OECD compliant, then the discount is very minimal. You don't have to sell the good at 1% discount like we are doing for ASM. There are large scale mining companies that sell their good at 0.09% discount, 0.12% discount. And that is where we want to go there. And what will help ASM good enter that market is when we have this solution. So that when I get a buy in Accra, it is tagged, and I can go on a system and I will know that this gold is made up of 20 components. And component 1 was mined at a small scale mining site in Asenkrigwa. Component 2 came from Bole Bamboy. Component 3 came from here, here, here. And this is the chain of custody it went through. Once we can do that, then you can have a lot of ASM good entering the LBMA market. That means better prices, still at a discount, but lower discounts and better prices. And finally, you spoke about Dubai. There is this misconception that when the Iran US war started, Goldbod could not export gold. It's not true. Please. Every off-taker that the Goldbod engages must provide a minimum of 2 destinations for receiving gold. And so Dubai is always one, but there is always a second one. So even though Dubai flights were cancelled for a few weeks, we have off-takers who could receive gold in other places. But the issue about, when you go to Dubai, there is a discount. This is not only in Dubai that there is a market discount. In Hong Kong, there is a market discount. In India, there is a discount. Unless under some special circumstances, like I explained, where due to shortage or low supply of gold, they offer premiums. You understand? So there is a market discount in this market. Why is there a discount? There is a discount because if the gold is in this raw form, the one buying it must refine it. So he must discount the price so that he gets his refining charge from it. Okay. And if the one buying it is the one paying for the transportation, like it is in Ghana, because the discount we give them, even though we are doing the shipment on CIF basis, the discount we give them, we use part of it to pay for the freight. The airline transporting the gold must be paid, and you must insure the gold. Then the logistics service provider who will receive the good at the airport, clear it, and go and deliver it to the doorstep of that buyer must be paid. So all that is what is factored into the discount. Okay. And this pertains, everywhere in the world. Even for LBMA gold, there must be a discount. But the only difference is that the discount is very, very, very minimal for LBMA gold. Whereas for ASM gold, because we have not formalized and made it traceable, responsibly sourced, OECD compliant yet, we need to give a big discount. So that is how it works. Thank you.
And Sammy Gyamfi, a Goldbod CEO, and I'm not saying Kano. He spent close to, I think, 3 hours. Twitter Spaces in Ankasa with Austin Wood. My colleague Eugene said to know also. Now over 4 hours, but Sammy Gyamfi spending close to 3 hours. Yeah, no, Ghana for a bonk or more church Goldbod no sense. One Ankasa leave a comment in the comment section with the program next year. The big man himself, Nana Kujo Janto, Mobile Tennis Show. Bye bye.